Welcome to Token Trails, your go-to podcast for diving deep into the cutting-edge innovations in Web3, blockchain technology, and decentralized systems. In today's episode, we're continuing our Superchain series with an exciting look into Mantle. As one of the newer Layer 2 solutions, Mantle is designed to push Ethereum's capabilities further by offering unparalleled speed and efficiency, all while staying decentralized and secure. We'll break down how Mantle leverages modularity and Optimism's OP stack to deliver a next-level experience for developers, businesses, and users alike. By the end of this episode, you'll understand how Mantle is not just optimizing blockchain performance, but setting new standards for scalability and accessibility across the ecosystem. Let's dive into the world of Mantle and explore what it means for the future of the Superchain.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive.
Let's do it.
Today, we're looking at Mantle.
Uh-huh.
It's a Layer 2 blockchain solution. And it's making some serious waves, especially in the Ethereum ecosystem.
That's right.
I know you're probably thinking, another Layer 2, what's so special about this one?
Yeah.
But trust me on this one, Mantle is doing things a little bit differently. And that's what we're going to uncover today.
Exactly.
So before we get into all the nitty-gritty details,
Mm-hmm.
can you give us like a quick rundown of what a Layer 2 solution is?
Sure. So you can kind of think of Ethereum like as this highway, right?
Okay.
But as more and more cars, or in this case, transactions, get on the highway, it starts to get really congested.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And you know what happens when there's congestion?
Oh yeah, everything slows down.
Exactly. You got it. Things slow down. The tolls, or in this case, gas fees, go way up.
Good. Gas fees.
Nobody likes those. But Layer 2 solutions like Mantle, well, they're like building these express lanes on top of that highway. Oh, okay.
So transactions can just zoom by smoothly and affordably.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
So that's why everyone's so excited about Layer 2s, right?
Right.
But you mentioned that Mantle's special because it's modular.
Yes.
What does that even mean in the context of blockchain?
So imagine building with Legos.
Okay.
You have all these different pieces that you can snap together to create tons of different structures, right?
Yeah, like infinite possibilities.
Yeah, exactly. And Mantle's architecture is kind of similar. It breaks down the blockchain into these separate pieces like execution, data availability, and settlement. And the really cool part is that these pieces are interchangeable.
Oh, so instead of a one-size-fits-all blockchain,
Yeah.
Mantle lets you kind of pick and choose the best parts for what you need.
Yeah, exactly. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
And that's where the advantages really come in. Like, take the data availability layer, for example. Mantle uses something called eigenlayer, which basically allows data to be stored off-chain.
So what this means is you're not clogging up Ethereum with tons of data, which keeps things running really smoothly and cheaply.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's kind of like a super organized and efficient system, huh?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And this organization, it translates into real benefits for users like lower costs, faster transaction speeds, which are, really important.
Yeah, especially for those large-scale applications.
Exactly.
All right, so we've talked about why Layer 2 solutions are so important and how Mantle's modular design kind of makes it stand out from the crowd.
Yeah.
But let's get down to, what does this actually mean for the developers, the people who are building on Mantle? What's in it for them?
Well, this is where it gets exciting for those folks. One huge advantage is that Mantle is EVM compatible.
Okay.
Now, EVM stands for Ethereum Virtual Machine.
Okay.
And it's basically the environment where all those Ethereum applications, they run.
So are you saying that developers can just take their existing Ethereum projects and just plop them onto Mantle?
Yep.
Just like that?
Exactly. They don't have to learn a whole new programming language or rebuild everything from scratch.
That seems like a pretty big time saver.
Oh, absolutely. It's like, moving to a new house that's already fully furnished and ready to go.
Nice. And I also heard that Mantle has, some pretty generous grants and programs to encourage and help developers build even more amazing things.
They do. Mantle really understands that to build a strong ecosystem, you need talented developers.
Uh-huh.
So they're offering these grants, they have dedicated support, and they even give them a whole toolbox of resources to make building on Mantle, smooth and even, dare I say, enjoyable.
So it sounds like they're really rolling out the red carpet.
Yeah.
While we're talking about making things easier, you've been kind of tiptoeing around this topic of gas fees.
Yes.
And we all know everybody hates those.
Yeah.
So how does Mantle address this, pain point?
Well, Mantle's modular design inherently it leads to lower fees. It's kind of like taking that scenic route instead of the toll road, you know?
I like that.
And on top of that, they're even planning gas rebates.
Gas rebates.
Yeah, which is a huge incentive for developers and users.
So cheaper transactions all around.
It's the future Mantle is aiming for. And it's not just about, saving money. It's really about making blockchain technology much more accessible and user-friendly for everyone.
Okay, so we've covered the basics here.
Yeah.
Mantle's a layer 2 solution. It's got this modular architecture. It's developer-friendly, and it's aiming for those low gas fees.
Right.
Now, I really want to get into the nitty-gritty. What are some of the specific examples of applications that can thrive on Mantle? What makes it like a good foundation for these applications?
So the possibilities are pretty vast, but let's start with DeFi.
DeFi, okay.
Or a decentralized finance. This is like a prime example where Mantle's speed, low cost, and security, they really shine.
Now, DeFi is definitely something I know our listeners are curious about. But can you give us like a quick rundown of what DeFi actually is? And, how does Mantle kind of fit into that picture?
Yeah, so DeFi is essentially all about recreating those traditional financial services, like things like lending, borrowing, trading, but without needing banks or other intermediaries.
Oh, okay.
So it's really about giving individuals more control over their finances.
Right.
And Mantle, with its speed, low cost, and security, it just makes it a perfect platform for building these really complex DeFi applications.
So if I'm understanding correctly, instead of, going to a bank to get a loan, I could use a DeFi platform that's built on Mantle and connect directly with lenders, and that cuts out all the middlemen and fees.
Precisely. And because everything is transparent and run by smart contracts, there's much less room for, hidden fees or shady dealings. It's just a more open, efficient, and accessible financial system.
Wow, that's pretty revolutionary. Are there any, specific DeFi projects on Mantle that you find particularly interesting or exciting?
Yeah, we're seeing a ton of innovation in, lending platforms and yield farming where, you can earn passive income with your crypto. Just imagine being able to lend out your crypto assets and earn interest or participate in these liquidity pools and get rewarded.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it definitely sounds like Mantle is creating some really exciting opportunities in DeFi.
Absolutely.
But what about other areas, like beyond finance? Things like NFTs and gaming. We hear about those all the time in the blockchain world. Where does Mantle fit in there?
Well, NFTs and gaming are like a match made in heaven on Mantle.
Okay.
Remember how we talked about Mantle's ability to handle lots of transactions and store big chunks of data off-chain?
Yeah.
Well, these features are really important for creating, smooth and fun NFT and gaming experiences.
Right, because NFTs, they often involve large files like images or videos, right?
Yes.
And games, well, they need those lightning fast speeds to keep things going.
Yeah, lag is a gamer's worst nightmare.
Absolutely.
And with Mantle's low gas fees, you can have NFT marketplaces where people can buy, sell, and trade digital assets without spending a fortune on transaction fees. We're also seeing really cool new blockchain games being built on Mantle where players can actually own in-game items as NFTs.
Wait, so you're telling me that I could potentially own my favorite video game character or that, super rare sword I found as an NFT?
Yeah.
That changes everything. You would be actually owning a piece of the game world.
It's a whole new level of ownership and engagement.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond just owning things. Blockchain tech can also make games way more interactive. Imagine games where players can actually help create the game world or have a say in how the game is run.
That sounds amazing. It feels like we're on the cusp of a new era of gaming where players have more ownership, more control, and more creative input thanks to platforms like Mantle.
It's a very exciting time to be a gamer and a blockchain enthusiast. The possibilities seem limitless.
Okay, I think we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive into Mantle.
Yes, we have.
We talk about what makes Mantle unique with that modular design, how it benefits developers, how it benefits users.
Right.
And we even dipped our toes into some of the really exciting applications that are being built on it.
Just getting started.
Exactly. And that's exactly what we're going to do in the next part of this deep dive.
Yeah.
We're going to go even deeper. We're going to look at the technical side of things, like those optimistic rollups and fraud proofs that we've been mentioning.
It's going to be a fascinating journey, so stay tuned.
Can't wait. Hashtag TTS, the deep dive episode 2024-1027, part 2 of 3.
Welcome back, everyone.
All right, so we left off talking about all the cool stuff being built on Mantle.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting stuff.
But now I want to kind of get under the hood. Let's talk about some of the technical magic that makes it all happen.
All right, let's do it.
You mentioned optimistic rollups and fraud proofs earlier.
Uh-huh.
Those sound kind of intriguing, and I think our listeners are ready to dive deeper into those.
Okay, so let's start with optimistic rollups. Think of it like, a way to bundle up a bunch of transactions and process them off-chain.
Okay.
Kind of like a carpool lane for transactions.
I like that analogy. So it speeds things up and reduces the load on that main Ethereum highway.
Exactly. And the optimistic part means that Mantle basically assumes all these bundled transactions are good
Okay.
until proven otherwise.
So it's like trusting that everyone is playing by the rules, but you've got a backup plan just in case someone tries to cheat.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And that's where those fraud proofs come in.
Hmm.
If someone tries to sneak in a bad transaction, anyone can actually challenge it by providing a fraud proof.
So it's like a whistleblower. They're saying, hey, wait a minute, this doesn't look right.
Right, exactly. And this proof basically shows that the transaction breaks the rules of the system.
That's pretty clever. It allows for speed and efficiency, but you're still maintaining that security.
Yeah, exactly. So even though things are being processed off-chain, if someone tries to pull a fast one, they're going to get caught.
Yeah, they can't hide. And that's where, Mantle being connected to Ethereum security really comes into play, right?
Exactly, because if that fraud proof checks out, the bad transaction gets reversed and everything goes back to normal.
So Ethereum is like that ultimate judge and jury. It's making sure everything stays fair.
Yeah, you got it.
That definitely gives me some peace of mind. But let's talk about EigenLayer now. You mentioned that it helps with data availability.
Yes.
Can you kind of walk us through how that works in practice?
Sure. So EigenLayer is like this secure, decentralized storage unit for Mantle's data. So instead of storing all that data on Ethereum's mainnet, which can get pretty expensive and congested, Mantle uses EigenLayer to keep things tidy and efficient.
So it's like offloading some of those files to, a cloud storage service.
Yeah, exactly. Frees up space and keeps things running smoothly.
But how does it ensure that the data is secure?
That's the beauty of EigenLayer. It actually inherits the security of Ethereum. So even though the data is stored off-chain, it still benefits from that same level of security.
So it's like keeping your valuables in a safe deposit box at a really, really secure bank.
Exactly.
You get that efficiency without compromising on that security.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
But, let's switch gears a bit. Let's talk about the developer experience. We know Mantle is EVM compatible, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But what other tools and resources does it offer to developers? What are they working with?
Well, they've put together a really comprehensive suite of tools. So they've got SDKs, which are like those pre-built blocks of code that just make development so much faster.
Okay.
They have APIs that allow different applications to talk to each other. And they have tons and tons of documentation that's really clear and easy to understand.
So they really tried to think of everything to make building on Mantle a smooth experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it seems like they're really trying to create that welcoming and supportive environment for developers, which is so important because the success of any platform really hinges on that vibrant developer community.
Oh, absolutely. And Mantle understands that, which is why they're actively fostering that community through, things like grants, hackathons, workshops.
It's all about bringing those developers together.
Exactly. It's creating that space where they can connect, they can collaborate, and really push the boundaries of what's possible.
Speaking of pushing boundaries, let's zoom out a bit. Let's talk about Mantle's role in the bigger picture. You mentioned the Superchain before.
Yes.
Can you remind us what that is and why is it relevant to Mantle?
Yeah, so the Superchain is basically like this interconnected network of blockchains. They're all working together in harmony. Think of it as creating bridges between different blockchain islands so that, people and data can move freely between them.
So it's about collaboration and interoperability, which is really important for that future of Web3.
Exactly. It's breaking down those walls. And Mantle's focus on modularity, low fees, and scalability makes it just a perfect fit for this interconnected ecosystem.
So Mantle is kind of like one of those blockchain islands within that Superchain archipelago.
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it.
And these bridges allow it to connect and interact with all those other chains.
Exactly. It really has the potential to become a central hub within the Superchain, facilitating all sorts of interesting interactions and applications.
This is all very exciting, but I also want to kind of talk about some of the challenges.
Okay.
Every new technology, it has its growing pains. What are some of the hurdles that Mantle needs to overcome as it kind of evolves and matures?
Well, I think one of the biggest challenges is adoption. Getting people to switch to a new platform always takes time and effort.
It's like being the new kid in school. You have to kind of prove yourself and earn your place.
Exactly. You got to build that trust, you got to demonstrate your value, and really convince both developers and users that you're the best option for their needs.
Which isn't easy in this, crazy fast-paced world of blockchain.
No, it's not. And on top of that, there's, managing the complexity of this modular architecture. While modularity offers a lot of flexibility, it can also make things more challenging from like a development and maintenance perspective.
So it's a balancing act.
Yeah.
Mantle needs to be innovative and push the boundaries, but it also needs to be practical, user-friendly if it wants to reach that mass adoption.
You got it. Finding that sweet spot between that cutting-edge tech and ease of use.
Okay, so we've talked about the challenges, but I'm also curious, what are you most excited about when it comes to Mantle's future?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, one thing that I'm really excited about is how Mantle is working to enhance interoperability with other chains.
Okay,
Both within the Superchain and beyond. Because seamlessly connecting these different blockchain ecosystems is crucial for the growth of Web3.
it's like breaking down the walls between countries. You allow for that free trade and cultural exchange.
Exactly. A much more open, interconnected world. Another thing that I'm really keeping an eye on is how Mantle continues to push the boundaries of scalability.
Right.
Because as Web3 grows, we're going to need blockchain platforms that can handle like a massive number of transactions without breaking a sweat.
So it sounds like Mantle is really on a mission to create a future where blockchains are fast, efficient, and accessible to everyone, no matter the scale.
That's the goal, an ambitious vision, but I think Mantle has the potential to really achieve it.
This has been a fascinating deep dive into that technical side of Mantle.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a much better understanding now of how it all works under the hood.
Good.
But I know our listeners are also really eager to hear about, the real-world applications of all this technology.
Well, they don't have to wait any longer. In the next part, we'll be exploring that amazing world of DeFi, NFTs, gaming, and even enterprise solutions that are being built on Mantle.
It's going to be a good one. Hashtag TTS, the Deep Dive episode 2024-1027, part 3 of 3. All right, so welcome back to our deep dive on Mantle. We've talked about the tech, the vision, but now let's get to, the fun stuff, right? What's actually being built on this platform?
It's like, stepping into this bustling marketplace full of all these exciting new ideas and projects. We talked a bit about DeFi in the last part, but I think we should dive a little deeper.
Yeah, let's do it. DeFi, decentralized finance, I think our listeners are really intrigued by it, but it can be a little, confusing.
Absolutely.
So can you just break it down for us in simple terms? Like, what is DeFi, and why is Mantle such a good fit for it?
So imagine a world where you can access those financial services, lending, borrowing, trading, but without needing banks or those traditional institutions.
Okay, so it's all about kind of cutting out the middleman.
Yeah, exactly. It's about putting that financial power back into the hands of individuals. And Mantle, with its speed, low costs, and really robust security, well, it provides that perfect foundation for building all these innovative DeFi applications.
So instead of going to a bank for a loan, I could use a DeFi platform on Mantle and connect directly with lenders, right?
Precisely. So you cut out those middlemen, you reduce fees, and you increase that transparency.
That seems like a much more efficient and equitable system.
It is. All those transactions are actually governed by smart contracts, which are essentially self-executing agreements.
Oh, okay.
Written in code. So there's less room for human error, manipulation, hidden fees.
It just seems a lot more upfront.
Exactly.
What are some real-world examples, of DeFi projects that are thriving on Mantle? What are people building and using?
Well, one area where we're seeing a ton of activity is in lending platforms. You can think of these as those peer-to-peer lending networks where you can lend your crypto assets and actually earn interest, all without a bank acting as the middleman.
Okay.
And we're also seeing some pretty innovative yield farming protocols.
Yield farming, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, they allow users to earn passive income by providing liquidity to these different DeFi applications.
Wow, passive income with crypto, that's definitely appealing. But, we've talked about DeFi. Let's move beyond finance for a second.
Okay.
NFTs and gaming, we've heard a lot about them on Mantle.
Yeah.
What makes it a good fit?
Well, remember Mantle's superpowers. The ability to handle like tons of transactions and store those large amounts of data off-chain, well, those are absolutely essential for creating smooth, engaging NFT and gaming experiences.
Right, because NFTs often come with large files or really complex metadata, and gamers, well, they don't want to be waiting around for transactions to go through, right?
Exactly. Nobody wants lag in their game.
No.
And with Mantle's low transaction fees, well, it makes it possible to build those NFT marketplaces where users can, buy, sell, trade digital assets without having to spend a fortune.
Makes sense.
And we're seeing the emergence of these really, really cool blockchain games built on Mantle,
Yeah.
where players can actually own those in-game items and even characters as NFTs.
So you're telling me I could play a game, find a super rare item, and actually own it?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's a whole new level of ownership and engagement.
It's a paradigm shift.
Yeah.
We're moving from a world where players rent these items, right, to a world where they actually own them.
Exactly. And it opens up so many possibilities. New game mechanics, economies, communities.
That's pretty wild to think about.
Yeah.
But we also talked about how Mantle could be used for, businesses, enterprise solutions. What does that look like? How's it being used in the corporate world?
Well, Mantle's, scalability, security, flexibility, it makes it really attractive to businesses. One area we're seeing some promise is in supply chain management.
Okay.
Imagine being able to track a product's journey from its origin all the way to the consumer, ensuring that transparency, the accountability, even ethical sourcing, blockchain can make that a reality.
So it's like giving the consumer a window into that whole life cycle.
Exactly. You build that trust, you can make informed decisions.
What other enterprise use cases are out there?
Well, we're seeing interest from different sectors, healthcare, finance, even government. Mantle could be used to, create secure, transparent systems for medical records, streamline financial transactions.
Right.
We could even see secure voting systems.
The possibilities really are endless.
There.
But before we wrap up, I want to go back to something we've kind of touched on throughout this whole conversation.
Yeah.
Community.
Yeah.
How important is the community to the Mantle ecosystem?
Well, Mantle is more than just a technology platform. It's really a community-driven ecosystem. And users have a real voice in shaping the future of this platform through its decentralized governance model.
So everyone has a say.
Exactly. Through a GAO, a decentralized autonomous organization. Key decisions about upgrades, funding, the direction of the platform, they're all made collectively.
So it's like a democracy where every token holder gets a vote.
Precisely. It ensures that the platform evolves in a way that really aligns with the community's vision. And it's not just about voting. Mantle is fostering this culture of collaboration. They're encouraging users to contribute to the development, share their feedback, support each other. It's a true Web3 community.
This has been a really incredible deep dive. We've covered so much.
You have.
The technology, the applications, the community.
It's been a journey.
It really feels like we've just scratched the surface of what's possible with Mantle. If our listeners want to learn more, where can they go?
Well, the Mantle website is a great place to start. You'll find tons of resources there.
Yep.
Documentation, tutorials, community forums, and of course, follow Mantle on social media to stay up to date.
And to all our listeners out there, we always encourage you to do your own research, explore the ecosystem, and maybe, who knows, become an active participant in this exciting journey. You might just discover the next big thing in Web3. That's it for our deep dive into Mantle. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.